All right, doing the landscape lily pad painting. It's got my 9x12 linen panel here, tone of burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, pencil simple grid, even though there's not a grid on here because I'm not going to be drawing it exactly how it is. I'm going to translate the scene onto here. I'll talk a lot about that. Palette's the same, ivory black, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, burnt sienna, cadmium red, yellow ochre, cadmium lemon, and titanium white. It's got some paint thinner, and get some ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, my zero flat brush to draw this in. And what I'm going to be doing, you know, with landscapes, I always like to ask myself, like, what do I like the most? And you can see just the way I cropped it, I like the water the most. I like the lily pads. So the trees, even though there's like all this mess of trees and everything, like I'm gonna really simplify that a lot. So I'm just gonna kind of create almost like a wall of trees right here. Just coming down. But I'm actually gonna put one tree that kind of comes down just a little bit here. Just kind of like a little mass right there. I'm gonna do the same over here, like this tree. I'm just gonna kind of move it kind of just to the edge there. That way I don't have this line just shooting off, you know, right off the page or the canvas. And then right here, I'm gonna put my little house. And I know there's a house there, you can't see it, but I have enough information. I have a lit wall, I got like the Spanish tile roof. So I'm just gonna pretty much draw a box. That's the shadowed side of the box. And the light side is here, and I'm gonna put like a little bush or some shrubs, kind of cutting off that. So have it gonna go all the way like that. So now we have our focal point. It's gonna be our focal point because all this is gonna be dark, and then that's light, area of highest contrast. So this is gonna come down. I'm actually gonna put this bank, actually like that right there. So this is all shrubs. And this is actually just going to get mirrored right down. So the reflection of it's going to be kind of right here, right there. Now for these lily pads, I really I'm gonna change them quite a bit and have them really arc to our focal point there. So I'm just kind of come, and as I'm drawing them, notice I'm drawing them with a lot of flat horizontal lines. It's gonna help with perspective. And that line is going to arc right to our focal point there. But now I want something here, like a shape, to kind of point us back in. Just like that. And then have a group of lily pads right there. Maybe see some here that I like. Gonna put them, maybe a little group right here. And I'll probably add in some more as I go, but just trying to get the big masses of them. Maybe there'll be like, you know, a little group right there or something. But now these trees, the reflections, Just gonna here, just come here. Kind of like that. And these clouds, I'm going to change kind of the shape of the clouds. I'm not going to have as much. I'm just going to say that's going to be clouds in there. Maybe have some clouds right in there. Maybe it drifts over there a bit. But these are my big shapes. Now something you can do, I'm going to do, kind of help solidify everything, is add value. I'm just getting a bigger brush here, the number 4. Keeping my paint very, very thin with the paint thinner. Just my ultramarine blue and burnt sienna here. I'm just going to mass in my dark shapes. Just to kind of make things a little easier for you to see. Again, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. I'm mainly doing this, I call it a value map. But just showing you like all of these trees, even though I am going to put like light side of the tree and dark side of the trees, they're still going to read as a dark, one big dark shape. I feel like one of the best skills you can develop as a painter is the ability to combine shapes. Stop thinking about things and start thinking about shapes. Like I'm thinking about the water reflection as connected, one big connected dark shape. Like that. I'm even going to push this a little darker, just have a counter all this dark over here. Need something over here, so probably have that. But these are the big shapes. All our lines go there. These verticals from the reflections go there, this goes there. So, got all of our big shapes mapped out. I'm just gonna bring this down a little bit more. So we are ready to paint. All right, so let's mass out these trees. I'm just going to get some ivory black here. Some of the cad lemon, and since it's black, think of black like a desaturated blue. So it's already automatically going to desaturate that green, maybe add a touch of the crimson. And I just want to maybe push a little bit of blue, maybe cool it down just a little bit. Just want to mass in these trees. Just one simple, big, flat shape. We'll pull out smaller shapes later, but this is just going to make it so much easier to do. Pushing a little more red into here. Bringing this down even. into the water. And just, you see me mixing more color. So I want to make sure I got enough on my brush to lay down. All right, it's got that dark green. Now, let's put in the blue, the sky. Actually, before that, let's put this cloud. Get some white, maybe just a touch of the ivory black, touch of crimson. See, it's kind of like a desaturated purple, maybe a touch of blue. A little more crimson. Just noticing that, bring this down a little bit right there. Now, for the sky, I'm gonna get some white, some blue, just a touch of the ivory black to knock it back a little bit because we're looking at it in the reflection of water. So that water is going to knock down the saturation of the sky a little bit. It's not going to be as bright as, say, if we were looking at just the sky directly. I'm just doing this one flat color. Later on, I'm going to put a gradient on this because, you know, this is still the sky. And as you get closer to the horizon in the sky, it gets lighter and a little warmer. So it's lighter and warmer here than it is here. But right now, just for this simple shape, just blocking it in one flat color. But now this is a lot darker. So I'm gonna get some more blue, touch of the ivory black, make sure that reads as a dark value like my green does. I got that. Now let's pop back up to the house real quick. Let's do a little black, white, and then let's do some crimson. A little bit of blue. I'm trying to get like a cool, desaturated purple for the shadows, something like that. And for the light side, push a little white, a little burnt sienna. A little yellow ochre warming it up. Light side. And then the roof is burnt sienna. A touch of blue. I'm just going to put this side in shadow. And then the other side's in light, so it's just going to be white and burnt sienna. Might push a little bit of crimson in it. Touch of yellow ochre. Just need a little bit of cat red. Really push that red. More of a pink. Yeah, something like that. And take that shadow color and shadow underneath the roof there. We'll come back and add some more to that, but this is all I'm worried about right now. I'm gonna go to the Lilly Pads now. Create a whole new green. There's some yellow, some ivory black, but keeping it more, a little lighter. It's a little too saturated. Push a little bit of red into it. A touch of white. Touch of blue. A little more white, a little more blue. I'm trying to find the color here. It's not too bad. A little more blue, more white. Having to mix up more and more paint. Just filling this in, big flat shape. It's gonna be really fun to cut back into this and make the Lilly Pads. More lily pad right here. All right, so that is all the big shapes. Now is the super fun part of cutting into these shapes and bringing the painting to life. All right, let's start having some fun by cutting back into this big shape of the Lilly Pads to create like the illusion of a lot. And you're gonna notice I'm gonna do more cutting into this shape here than back here. Back here, it's not gonna be nearly as much. Actually, I'll just start there and show you what I mean. And back there, it's gonna be this dark that we have. And so I'm just going to put some horizontal cutbacks into there. So I'm just going to get some blue, yellow, touch of red. Just cut back there. But when I come up here, some blue, just a little bit of white, touch of the ivory black. I'm making sure that when I cut back, that I'm making these cutbacks different. Going to a slightly darker blue, because remember we're going to have a gradient on this. I'm just going to cut right back in. See how it's already starting to read a lot more. And again, I'm going to be getting more specific in here with these cut-ins than I am back here. It's just going to create a lighter blue to have here. It's going to get slightly lighter down here a little bit. Actually just going to work this right into the clouds to get that soft edge. Just bringing down that for the reflection. That's how we're going to handle reflections here, is just letting that wet paint blend right in. We're going to do it with the trees, but not right now. Still want to mess around with cutting into these Lilly pads. And I'm not like really looking at that. I might be looking at it to like kind of get a gist of the shapes, but I'm not going like shape for shape. And I'm putting more cutouts, I'm cutting more out on the edges than the inside. I feel like the inside things stay pretty dense. Just going to take this sky color and just work it right into that wet paint. Get that soft edge. Just going to do the same here. But now, I want to kind of get away from the Lilly pads for a second. I don't like developing one area too much. Because I like to see how it's looking with everything else. I'm going to go to these clouds. Just, again, work that lightly. I'm barely touching my brush against the canvas there. But I actually want to put in the light side of these trees. So I'm just going to get some blue and yellow to start out with. I want to desaturate that. some crimson. And you can see this is still a pretty dark green, even though I'm painting the light side of the trees. So, make sure I desaturate it with enough red. And I got a tree, I want a tree here, and the sun's coming from the right side. Push a little more blue into this, more red. Yeah, definitely want to make this darker than your lily pads and a little more brownish of a green. Maybe push a little more blue. I'm just thinking about covering the side that's getting hit with light, which is the right side. The tree. And then taking that and mirroring it down into the water. And push maybe a little bit more yellow to the cad red. I can just do the same back here. Not completely getting rid of the green that I had. Keeping that for shadows. This tree that comes there. But this is pretty much just like what I like to call like a wall of trees. You're not going to get a whole lot of detail. Let's do the same thing. I'm going to probably keep that in shadow, but maybe there's some of these back here catching some light. It's going to be like right here. I should probably reflect that house down just to like keep track of it. Some black, white, some crimson, maybe a little bit of blue. Again, I'm gonna let, these are like lily pads here, so this is gonna be kind of like smearing that down right there, letting it blend in again to that color that's already there. And then, what was it, like white, burnt sienna, blue. Just gonna push a little bit of that purple into it. This is gonna be, push a good amount of burnt sienna. Trying to darken it. Kind of overlaps that lily pad. It's right underneath it. And then this roof. Just going side to side with my brushwork there. Pushing a little blue. This side's the dark shadowed side. I think that's looking all right. Just kind of like softening this up a bit. something you can do that's pretty cool is you get some yellow, white, touch of blue, just a little bit of cad red, keeping it like a pretty light green. Just a little more blue. Is I can create like anywhere I want. Like if I want grass and light here, it's actually might be a little too bright. Create these little strips of grass. I'm going to push a little more yellow into that. Got like a strip there, one there, and then one there. And then like this, kind of like that. There. Make sure to kind of mirror it softly right into there. Now the grass that's in shadow, it's going to push some blue, maybe a little red. It's not like a huge change in color, but it's like a little bit lighter. I'm just going to like push it right into the reflection, and I'll show you how I'm going to distinguish it in a second. Same here. It's the grass area. Actually, that might be a little light. So actually take some black, a little bit of burnt sienna, just indicate that shoreline, just like a little shadow. Same thing over here. Add some lighter shapes to this tree. All right. I feel like everything is working. I'm gonna put a little bush right there. Now it's a matter of like adjusting and honestly just like trying to have fun with it. So the first thing I see is I want to kind of trim these a bit. Little hole, little breaks. I'm going to go back to my Lilly Pads and mix up a slightly lighter green. Just kind of adjusting that. And I've cut back into the lily pads. Another thing that I'll do is I'll kind of do the opposite, which is like put little stray ones. Like I'll put ones on the outer edge. Just trying to make it seem as like organic and random. I need to cut back into this one, but I think those are working. Kind of more of a saturated green here for these lily pads up front. Gonna put more color variation up front and like let it drift off as it gets further away. And if I see I want to keep breaking these up a little bit. These lily pads back here, I'm lightening it up, and I'm also kind of cooling the green a little bit to help push it in the distance. Things get cooler as they get further away, but not getting like a ton of detail. Keeping it really simple back here. And the fact that there's going to be more shapes up front with these cut-ins, that's what's going to really help sell these. But you don't want to do too many. There's something to be said about using, I don't know, I feel like whenever you can use fewer bigger shapes, the better. Might just be a preference thing, but another thing is you can take this sky blue when you're ready and cut back in horizontally for some ripples in the water. Again, probably going to be more ripples the closer you get to the viewer, us, and they get less and like probably longer and simpler as they get further away. Don't go crazy with these. You can also do it with the color of the clouds. Just really want to get a clean brush and then soft edges there. But you can see, like, you could probably honestly stop now and like painting works. Blacks, put in a window or two there. Like the painting works really well, I feel like, in my opinion right now. Like everything's reading. But if you want to keep going, get some like yellow ochre, a little bit of white, some yellow, like indicate some of these yellow Lilly Pads. I don't want to do too many of them. Debated whether or not I should put them in at all. Keep cutting back here. It's like one of my favorite things to do with painting is like paint big shapes like this and then cut them back. There's also like little areas. It's like little shadows underneath the Lilly Pads. Like these yellow ones, a little shadow underneath. I don't know if that really did much. And cutting back into this. I'm kind of playing down those yellow ones. I don't even know if I need them. I think I'm just gonna paint them out. You can keep them in if you like. I don't know. I think I'm just liking it more simple. So tempting, just want to paint these, just cutting across right there. What else was I gonna do? I was like, knew exactly what I was gonna do next, and I just like forgot. Oh, these little flowers. Are those lotus flowers? I don't know. They're really cool. I wish they were here, so I'm gonna put them there. Don't go crazy with these. They're gonna be fun to put in. Just getting some white and yellow ochre. They're gonna be very, very small in the distance. You don't want to put a ton. I know there's a ton there. Maybe see in there. Here, I'm just gonna put my brush and then flick up a bit. Like two together right there, one there. Maybe there's three right there. Trying to keep these random. It's amazing what our brains will do just without thinking. We'll like automatically put these like perfectly spaced apart. Like I'll put like 5 random ones and you could probably measure it with a ruler and they're like equal distance apart and I didn't even think about it. Putting these like on the top of the pad here. Don't worry about too many of them back there. That's about it for this one. I like how this one turned out. Just kind of getting that water effect here. Take my finger and blend that out. But soften that edge. Maybe put it's a little too blue. A little burnt sienna in there. Just a little window, door. But I think that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Have fun painting.